Next is the first part, which is the front part. Before you open the hood, what you want to tell them is a general overview. Number one, the truck is straight. It's not leaning left or right. If you see it leaning, maybe the pressure of the tire might be low, or you might have suspension problems. Number two, there's no leaks or puddles. You don't see no oil, no antifreeze, no power steering, nothing.
Okay.
And then last thing, you don't see nothing loose or hanging or touching the floor.
Okay.
Everything's well mounted, secure. At that point, you go forward. If they didn't say anything about the lights, then you talk about it. You see, these are your headlights. They're low beam, high beam. Proper color, clear. They're not cracked, broken, working. These are your combination. If you signal right or four-way flashes, working. Proper color, amber. The same thing goes for the left side. You see, this is the hood. It's not cracked or broken. This will keep everything underneath secure, and it has latches. These latches are secure, they work. You take this one off, and then you take the other one. Before you take the other one off, the last thing you want to explain are those clearance lights. They're supposed to be working, they're not cracked, broken, proper color, amber. Then you take this one off, and now you're ready to open the hood. All right, open the hood for me now. From the other side, from the center. It could be easier. Nah.
Oh.
Pull it.
I'll pull it.
Right. Very good. Now, staying right here. Engine compartment. General overview. Number one, you want to let them know that everything is properly connected from one end to the other. You don't see no loose hoses or wires. They're not cut tear, and there's no leaks on my engine. First thing, radiator. My radiator is properly mounted. It's not cracked or broken. There's no leaks or puddles. The cap is tight and secure, and the purpose of the radiator is what keeps the temperature balanced. You see, this is the cooling reservoir. Properly mounted, it's not cracked or broken. There's no missing nuts. There's no loose hoses. They're not cut tear. There's no leaks. The cap is tight and secure. You see, with this, you could check the level. Anything below the full mark, you want to add more at the proper time when the engine is cool. If I don't have antifreeze, what's going to happen? It's going to overheat.
Yes.
Next, power steering reservoir. Properly mounted, it's not cracked or broken. The hoses are properly connected. They're not cut, tear, frayed. There's no leaks. The cap is tight and secure, and it's not missing. You see, if I open this cap, there's a dipstick. When I clean it, put it back in, pull it out one more time, I could check the level of the power steering fluid. If I don't have power steering fluid, I won't be able to steer correctly from the inside. Next, air compressor. The air compressor is that little piece right there in the back. With that air compressor, if you look at it, there's no belt. So that means that it's gear driven.
Okay.
The purpose of the air compressor is what generates air to the brake system. Okay. It's not cracked, broken, secure, no air leaks. Next, refill cap. You see at the center by the engine, there's a cap. If I open that cap, that's where I could add engine oil. How do I know if I need engine oil? With the dipstick. By having the vehicle off, I pull it out, wipe it, put it back in, pull it out one more time, check the level. If I need to add it through there. They're both secure. Next, steering parts. Everything that I'm gonna say to you right now are steering parts. Number one, this is my steering shafts. Properly connected from one end to the other, secure with a universal joint, properly greased, and this cannot rotate no more than 10 degrees of play. This is my steering gearbox. Properly mounted, it's not cracked or broken. Hoses are connected properly, no leaks at all. This is considered my 3-piece steering linkage, which is 1, 2, and 3. This first one is called a pitman arm. My pitman arm is properly connected, it's not cracked or broken, secure with the drag link, and from the drag link, I have the upper control arm. These are secured by castle nuts and cotter pin. You have another castle nut right here with a cotter pin on top that is tight, secure, not cracked, broken, or missing. Next, 2 more things. Right here in the bottom, you got the tie rod. That tie rod is what the bar connects from this side all the way to the other side. Perfectly straight, it's not cracked or broken, secure with a lower control arm. That lower control arm underneath has another castle nut and a cotter pin. Not cracked, broken, loose, or missing. Next, suspension. With the suspension, you got the front axle. This axle is what aligns this side of the tire with the other side of the tire. Perfectly straight. It's not cracked or broken. Secure on the very top, leaf springs. These lean springs, they're one on top of the other. They're not cracked, broken, and they're not missing or shifted to either side. They're secured by 2 U-bolts, front and back. Those U-bolts are secure, they're not cracked or broken. And you can see from underneath, those bolts are not missing at all. Next, my spring mounts. Right here, these are my spring mounts. Front and in the back are properly holding these leaf springs and are connected to the chassis. They're not cracked, broken, there's no missing nuts or bolts, and there's no illegal welding. The chassis that goes from the front all the way to the very end of this truck is not cracked or broken, no missing nuts or bolts, and no illegal welding. The last thing is my shocks. On both sides, these shocks are properly connected. They're not cracked or broken, they're hydraulic, no leaks at all. Next, brake system. You see, this is my brake system. First thing, brake chamber. My brake chamber is properly connected, it's not cracked or broken. If you look carefully, if the chamber has 2 things connected, this brake line and the ABS line underneath. It's not cut, tear, or frayed. You don't hear no air leaks, and it's working properly. At this point, this piece right here is called the slack adjuster. The slack adjuster is properly mounted, it's not cracked or broken, and it's secure. Above it, this is called the push rod. If I go inside of the truck and I release the parking brake and I pull this by hand, cannot be pulled no more than 1 inch of play. Inside of the rim, I have the brake drums and the brake lining. Those brake drums are secure, they're not cracked, broken. There's no missing nuts or bolts, and there's no oil leaks at all. Inside of the brake drums, you got the brake lining. Those brake lining cannot be less than 1/4 of an inch thickness. Anything less than that, it means that they're bad. They must be replaced. From there, then you got the tire. You see, you got 2 tires in the front. Both front tires cannot be recapped, meaning they must be brand new tires. The number of this tire must be 432. How do I know that? Because if I take the gauge, that will tell me that number. From there, you're gonna tell them the sidewall from the inner and outer. There's no cuts or bubbles. There is no space between the rim or the tire, because if you see space between them, that means that this tire is not properly inflated. To check the pressure, you gotta look for the valve stem. So when you look for the valve stem, which is, where's the valve stem? Oh, right here. Right here, if I put a pressure gauge, not only I could add or release air, but the number of this tire must be at least 100 psi. The rim is secure, it's not cracked or broken, and it's secured by lug nuts. These lug nuts, there's no rust or shiny spots around them, letting me know that they're loose. They're not cracked, broken, or missing. And in the center, you got the oil hub seal. It's secure, not cracked, broken, and there's no oil leaks, not only from the outer, but from the inside. You see, now that I'm done, now I'm going to the other side to explain what I don't have here. So let's go to the other side. With this side, number 1, you have the alternator right underneath. The alternator is properly mounted, it's not cracked or broken. It's what, you know, charges the battery and gives the electricity. But there's still belt in front of it, so that means that it's belt driven. The name of that belt is called a serpentine belt. That belt cannot be no more than 3/4 of play. So that means that it's really tight and secure, and it works. Also, I forgot, since you have the radiator, you also got the fan. So you tell them the fan is not cracked, broken, and it's working. The water pump, which is pretty much connected from the radiator, is what pumps or circulate antifreeze. If you look at it, there's no, you know, puddles or leaks. Properly mounted, it's not cracked or broken. And at this moment, everything that I say over here, I already said on the other side. You don't have to repeat yourself. And then from there, you're done.